Oh, wow. What's really good? What's really good? What's really good? It is Monday Eve. Oh, my goodness. I've got the wrong one up. It's all good, though. Oh, my goodness. Getting old, man. I'm getting old. Back here in
It,
Hoodlum
it
City.
happens.
Every now and then I get, it's always the Monday jitters. What is the Monday jitters? The Monday's jitters. The Monday jitters. I don't know.
Most heart attacks happen on a Monday.
I can understand why. That's not surprising, actually. So it is Monday Eve, unfortunately. Going back to the grind tomorrow. But we'll do some really dope stuff tonight, hopefully. Some YouTube stuff. Something I just realized in my not school district account I could do that I can't do in my school district account. And we're going to walk you through that as well. Just realized that literally 15 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago. So we will
learning is always happening.
Oh, indeed. This week or today we're going to deal with YouTube and the fact that YouTube is for the children. Actually, what we just discovered definitely fits into that vein. So it's all good. YouTube is for the children. It's something that you should be utilizing, hopefully, in your on-demand instruction as much as possible, because it doesn't have to be a huge ordeal. I think it's a tool that, if you just keep it very, very basic, is a simple tool to use. Would you agree, Webbs?
Yeah, I think whether you're putting videos up or you're using YouTube to get your video content, it's a good resource to use.
So yeah, definitely, going to kind of walk you through some stuff you might think about doing with YouTube. But as we start all of our adventures, we're starting with talking to our software developer, our resident software developer, and giving her that question that kind of hopefully is that college and career ready-ish type question. And we think of YouTube, or a lot of my students think of YouTube as a place where they're entertained only. But Webbs, as a software developer, do you utilize YouTube in your daily walk through your job? And if you do, how do you do so?
Yeah, I would say at least a few times a week. There's a lot of education that comes from YouTube. So there's a lot of really big conferences that will put their talks up. So in that respect, a lot of our professional development comes from YouTube. Also, a lot of the tools that we use, for example, right now I'm working in Azure quite a bit, and Microsoft has a whole channel that will go over the different tools they have within the Azure ecosystem. So a lot of our knowledge will come from there, and it's considered a professional means of sharing information with your audience. I remember back a month or so ago, there was a teacher who had shared that she teaches at one of the arts academies, and all the big ballet companies share their performances and tutorials and things on YouTube. So I think, there are a lot of adults who perceive it as a screw around tool where you just go to, watch streamers and videos that aren't that important. I mean, but it's a really big source of knowledge. YouTube has become my television. I know just from my personal experience, I'll go there to watch and learn how to do cooking stuff. I'll go there to learn how to, change my my sink out in my bathroom. It's just a really indispensable tool for the modern era. And there's a video I have bookmarked, because every 6 months you're supposed to oil the springs and different parts of your garage door. And so I have this one guy's YouTube video bookmarked because he does a really efficient job of explaining it. So I just have it bookmarked as a reminder, so that every 6 months when I go to spray my garage pieces, I just go look at his video to remind myself which pieces I'm supposed to spray, which pieces I don't have to spray. So things like that. I mean, YouTube's a really indispensable tool. It's not something that's strictly there to just screw around. I think it's a really good tool, especially for professional development in not only in education, but in other fields as well, like software development. I've actually shared quite a few talks from there, even in the last like couple weeks with my coworkers.
So would you like? So let's take it out of the professional realm and bring it to the education realm. So a lot of just listening to a lot of chitter chatter on social media. A lot of people don't like YouTube in classrooms. There's a bit of almost like they're cheating, like oh, you're cheating if you're learning from anyone other than the teacher. Like in terms of looking at that as a professional, what are your thoughts on that piece?
I think it's not cheating. There are other people out there who know subject matter better than I do about a lot of things. There are people out there who can explain subject matter than I can. I think that as a teacher, and I was a big proponent of using YouTube in my classroom early on enough that there wasn't any sort of like permissions in place to be able to use it. So the only like permission we had was to show a movie. And if I were to use that for every YouTube video I wanted to share, I would have been, weeks behind trying to do my content on YouTube and get my video permissions forms filled out. But I think that to your question about like, is it cheating to go to YouTube and find a video to share? No, because there are people who, it's like going to a production company. That's kind of, I guess, how I look at it. They have more money, they have more time, they have more resources. So why, as an educator, when I'm lacking time, money, and resources, would I not go to someone else? They've already put out this content for me to use about that topic. They might know more about the topic. They may have researched more about that topic. I'm thinking SciShow right off the top. SciShow Kids. They have far more resources and access to experts than I do. They put out really high quality content. Kurzgesagt is another great channel that puts out well-researched, very high quality animated videos that I could never do. They have a whole team of people that put out those videos. There's no way that I could do that. So those channels have resources I don't have. Therefore, I don't think it's cheating. I think it's using what's available to you, and being humble enough to say, I don't need to be the be all and end all of knowledge for my students. I can partner with these other companies, businesses, resources, and provide my students with the best experience possible.
Super dope. So that is a professional software developer. It says a YouTube. YouTube is like calculators to me, right, fam? I mean, hey, boom, 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 boom. I mean, why would I spend my time trying to figure out the numbers in a lot of ways if someone can walk me through how to do a certain thing? We have to be very cautious of the cognitive load for not only ourselves but for our students in this environment, and I think kind of to your point, asking a teacher who perhaps does not have the capabilities to cut video, edit video, make it high quality video, and say, you have to go and build this from scratch when it already exists in a form where professionals, people who do that for a living, are doing it, I think is silly. And for students to be, it's one of the things that I was listening to. It was essentially one of the teachers were ranting about the fact that this kid had learned an alternate way to do a certain assignment from a YouTuber that she hadn't presented to the student, and how that was disrespectful of whatever. And I was kind of taken aback, like this kid was industrious enough to go and say there's another way to do this, and I don't want to say that I'm going to be pigeonholed to this one way. To me, that took some creativity, took some brains, took some imagination for the student, and the student should have been congratulated instead of it seemed as though that teacher wasn't very pleased with that person finding an alternative to the way they were doing the assignment. So yeah, it was I don't know. I think
and like what you were saying, teachers are trying to learn and deal with a lot right now, and I feel like trying to add movie video editor to your skill set, like, yeah, sure, it's one thing to be able to do some light video editing. we've talked about Flipgrid Shorts or something, what is it, Canvas Studio or something. Like there are,
yep.
Yeah, there are a bunch of tools out there, and light editing, yes, that's important. Be able to clip the end and maybe a couple things, little clips on iOS is like that. Really light, easy Instagram level editing. Maybe that's a double-edged term, but the level of production that certain YouTube channels put out, you'll never. That's a full-time job. I mean, it's the reason why that is literally a full-time job. 3 Blue 1 Brown is another great channel. Tons of editorial film production value in the videos that he puts out. His animations are all done in Python. He has a beautiful way of explaining higher level from like algebra and up, algebra, calculus, pre-calc. Did a really great video on models for the pandemic of like isolation, not isolation, that kind of a thing. Just that's an amazing quality video as well. Like, you wouldn't have any qualms doing a video that came from like some PBS. So how is YouTube any different? There is definitely content out there that's not appropriate, but that's where you as the teacher come through and you say, hey, Kim says, love Kurskat. It is such a good channel. Like, their animations are amazing. But it's a whole production, like tons of people on that team. So I don't see it as cheating. And I think sometimes you have to set your pride aside and say, it saves me and it saves the kid. And I don't have to be the be all and end all of what's in front of my students. Like, it's okay. You have permission from me. I'm telling you now, go to YouTube, find good YouTube videos. High quality YouTube videos are responsible education.
Oh, so you have permission from Web to like buck the system.
So if your admin complains, you just say, listen, Web said, I'm sending you this video because Web said that it was okay.
That's hilarious. So you already dropped some of the channels that perhaps you'd be very interested in following. And I just, right now I'm doing, my kindergartners are learning about space right now. And selfishly, because when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. That was one of my big things. But I realized I was afraid of heights. Grew up in Washington, D.C., got to go to the Air and Space Museum like every other week if I wanted to. And I realized going to the Air and Space Museum that I could not stomach any of that stuff. I would thrown up and not been a very happy camper. I still don't like plane flights. I go to sleep or I close my eyes when it's taking off and whatnot until it gets it out. So yeah, I understood that. But perhaps one of my students would be an astronaut. If I saw their name up in lights and said, okay, my goodness, I can live vicariously through this kid. So there are tons of, if you just do basic searches for videos, of course, and kind of what Webb's just was talking about, vetting is kind of really important. So not, oh, okay, cool, I'm just going to put this video up and just, I'm not going to watch it. I think vetting is very important. But also the fact that YouTube can be integrated into so many of the tools that you're probably already using. So Google Classroom, put YouTube videos in there. Nearpod, put a YouTube video in there. Flipgrid, put a YouTube video in there. Canvas, put a YouTube video in there. There are very few edu tools at this point that offer a dynamic set of tools that do not include YouTube in that dynamic set of tools. And one of the channels that I definitely kind of message I show kids, littles like to be read to. Story time from space is the dopest thing, especially if you're going to have kids learn about space. It's astronauts reading stories from the International Space Station to students about space. So it's really, really dope. Always lead with that when we're having our on-demand time. If you're using, again, Flipgrid or Nearpod or whatever, you can embed questions inside there. I'm going to show you another tool that's really, really dope to do that as well. But generally, those kind of high production value companies are going to put themselves through the ringer to make sure that the content's appropriate. There's nothing that's going to be deemed interesting that a kid might say, oh my God, what's going on? National Geographic kids, SciShow Kids I use a lot. Um, if you higher levels, we're talking about the Vlog Brothers, Crash Course and stuff like that. A lot of PBS stuff. One of the things that I like a lot, not even for kids, is just professional learning on YouTube. Um, Art assignment is great to deal with. All the PBS stuff is real dope. NPR stuff. Vox has a really, if you really like, in-depth, thought-provoking type stuff. Our students had to do logos at the beginning. Vox has this amazing 10-minute video on logos and what a logo is and how it walks through. It's a little high for students. Yes, it's a little high for students, but that's why you're there to watch with them and say, oh, okay, cool. This is or add questions or whatever as you go through. Webs.
Something I actually really like about YouTube, you're making me really think deeply about my YouTube channels. By the way, I'm learning how to garden and do desert gardening, and YouTube is where I've gotten most of my information. There's a channel I started following called Epic Gardening. He's a dude out of San Diego who has a bunch of really neat, interesting videos. I follow a lot of cooking channels. I've been working on my strength training. There's a couple of trainers that I follow since I can't meet with my trainer anymore. Legal Eagle is really interesting. Marquez Brownlee, Mkbhd. Amazing YouTuber. If you want to feel bad about your ability to edit videos, Mkbhd is amazing. He's been on YouTube for well over a decade. Okay. He started when he was 15, 11 or 15, something like that. Yeah.
Ridiculous young age.
He's made a total career out of it. He now uses super high-end cameras and he goes to all the Apple events. He's a really good YouTuber. He's also really good at just the way he does his content. He's thoughtful about his lighting and his graphics choices and his audio. I do a lot of the late shows. I get those all through YouTube because then I can just watch the clips I care about. My news, Amanpour and Company is one of my favorite channels to watch. Film Joy, if you've ever watched movies with Mikey, that's a really great channel from an adult perspective. But the thing that I love a lot about YouTube is that it's representative. You can find a lot of YouTubers who are special needs. I follow How to ADHD, which is another, really good channel. I don't have ADHD as far as I know, but I get a lot out of those videos and it helps me empathize with folks who do have ADHD and do have those challenges. I follow a couple YouTubers. I just mentioned Movies with Mikey. I believe he has MS, and he talks about that a little bit. I follow a couple of deaf YouTubers. So you can get access to people who have different life experiences than you do. A lot of YouTubers have put out videos about burnout and what it's like to go through that. It's Okay to Be Smart is another really good channel. I follow a channel called How to Rap because I've been working on my freestyling. You can literally learn anything on YouTube. It's amazing. But yeah, I like that you have access to high quality content if you know where to find it, and access to people whose experiences are different than yours. People who live in places that you don't live. So it's really an opportunity to bring the world to your students.
But also it kind of role models to you how perhaps you could do distance learning, right? So YouTube is all on demand. I can watch whatever I want to watch at whatever time. If I wake up at 1 a.m, I'm going to watch Marcus Brownlee do some stuff. If I want to go watch, right now, I'm really big into getting our streams to a place where it's really slick. So I've been going and watching people's stuff and they're oh, use this and they do that. Oh man, that's really dope. I wouldn't have thought about that. And I could watch those at my own pace, stop them, go and play around with stuff and come back and say that didn't really work. Let me see if somebody else has another way to deal with that. And so it's I was watching one of the YouTubers / streamers that I follow, Doc Rock. Shout out to Doc Rock. If you're watching this, you're probably not, but it is what it is. And he was look, when in doubt, go to YouTube University. And that is the mentality I think that teachers would be really, really they would benefit very, very much from if we had a scenario in which a lot of the content is already cut. Let me just use this person's video and I can add whatever layers I need in order to get our students to have mastery of that subject area of that idea. But video is very engaging. Kids like video. Kids watch videos. Kids watch, again, the stupid hide and seek videos in people's houses and how to make slime and all kinds of stuff like that. What they don't do very well is take instruction from a video and actually apply it. That's what our students don't do very, very much of. And I sent Webbs a screenshot of something earlier. If you've ever done those little directions things, right, where the first thing is, you know, whatever, and it's like 10 steps, and the last step is, if you would have read this step, all you would have to do is do step number 1 and, you know, chill out or whatever.
It's always read all the directions first. And then if you get all the way to the bottom, it says, like, if you've read all the directions, don't do anything. And then so you see like all the people around you who are like furiously writing and they're hoo-hoo and being all silly and crazy. And you're like smugly sitting there, haha, I read the directions. Da, da, da. And I was telling you, I loved doing those as a kid, but reflecting as an adult, I realized, like, what are you trying to prove with that? You didn't follow my directions and my way of learning, that you got to do all the steps first. Maybe because I'm dealing with executive functioning issues, like someone with ADHD, I have to do one step at a time. And I have to have a way of saying, okay, this step is done. I used to do this for my students with ADHD. I do Post-it notes, and they would have to do one Post-it note at a time, crumple it up when they're done, or move it to a different place, and then move on to the next Post-it note. And that's how they kept everything organized. It's a very ableist activity, actually.
Not ableist. I mean, I don't have ADHD, right? I don't. And the fact that it fails proves to you how stupid the activity is, because most people don't do stuff that way. I take my stuff step by step. Cool. I do step 1. Great. I'm good. Step 2. Great. I'm good. Now, if I get to step 10, now what you're doing, you wasted my time. You're not being respectful of my hustle. So I get to step 10 and you didn't have to do anything because you should have read all the directions. Functionally, when do you read all of the directions before you do anything in real life?
When I make a recipe.
I never do that. I go step by step. First, do this. Okay, cool. I got that. Then I do the second part. Now rinse your chicken or whatever. You put the chicken in, whatever. Cool. I'm still going step by step. I don't read. First, put the oven on. Then rinse the chicken. Then, because I'm not going to remember all 12 steps of the thing. I'm going to do them one by one in order to make sure everything rocks and rolls. Unless I made that recipe 25 million times. I've never done it before. I'm not going to do it that way.
The reason I read all the directions is because, as someone who is experienced in cooking, I can usually rearrange the directions so that it will come out like to be timed better. And that way, if there's something like, oh, you need to divide the garlic in half or whatever, I kind of have an idea like, oh, that's right. I'm not going to dump all the garlic in. Well, I probably would dump all the garlic in and then just cut more garlic and add that garlic to the other thing. But I digress.
There's a never cooked before.
If you've never cooked before, like, go one step at a time. I don't disagree with you. I think there are reasons why I do read the directions all the way sometimes, but it's not super often. Like, I usually do like you do, just one step at a time. Another thing about YouTube is that's kind of cool. You can go down rabbit holes of deep learning, and I think we talked about this either on the last episode or the one before that. I think about my roommate just got into Formula One racing and has sucked me into that black hole along with him. But he went from not really knowing anything about the sport to knowing a crap ton about it because he started watching YouTube videos and seeing what people's commentary was, or Mercedes puts out these videos after the week after the race where they like interview people on the engineering team and they talk about like, why did this happen? And they answer questions from like YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. And they're really interesting videos, and it gives you more insight into like how the team works. And so he knows a ton of stuff. I know more about Formula One racing than I ever thought I would. And a lot of that is because we'll go down these like YouTube watching parties, and then the algorithm starts to suggest those videos. So that's another benefit, is if you're diving deep down the hole of one particular subject, whether that's desert biomes or fish of the deep Mariana Trench or something like that, it'll start to suggest, hey, you watch that video about the deep sea anglerfish. Here's more videos about fishes, or here's more videos about, other people who also talk about deep sea animals, also want to know about animals that live in the South Pole, or they want to know about, why do dogs dig in the place before they lay down, or just all kinds of stuff. Like, it connects all those ideas and starts to expand on that knowledge and gives you suggestions of videos to watch. So I think that algorithm can be a really powerful positive thing. It can also be a really positive negative thing if you want to get into the world of like crazy conspiracy theories and whatever. But it can be a very positive thing when you're talking about things like, deep sea animals and Formula One racing and new topics like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is true. So, like, I think the easiest entry point into um, YouTube, if I was someone who didn't use YouTube, wasn't interested in making any videos, I'm just like, look, fam, I just want to use this tool or whatever, is creating playlists by either topic or standard, going through as you go through your rabbit holes and saying, yo, these are all great videos about how to make sure my cactus is in the proper place in my yard in order to do X, Y, Z. Or this is the best way to learn how to do keyframes in Final Cut Pro the right way or whatever it is. And the cool thing about playlists is they can come from different channels. And that's why I really dig that. So it's same topic, different channels, same unit, same standard, same whatever, but you can build those customized the way you need to. Webs?
Two things. One, you can also share a link to like a whole playlist, which is great. And if you're watching videos to add to those playlists, then you will start to get suggestions for more videos to add to those playlists. And that makes your job easier. So as they suggest more things, you can give them a watch and be like, oh, that's a great thing to add to my, Strand 5 playlist for, nonfiction information or whatever. Also, I think it's an important format of literacy. Like one, speaking and listening is the standard. So that's the listening portion. So much of our media and our literacy comes through media like video and audio. So being able to, and turning on closed captioning, like, a kid can watch a video with closed captioning on and it builds that connection between what the word looks like and what the word sounds like. So all of those things are more reasons why videos are also super important. Is reading important? Yes, reading is important. More of the content your kids are going to get are going to be through audio and video, I think, than anything else in this day and age.
All right, so let's go and try to kind of play around. Oop, is that the one I want? No, where's it at? Where's it at?
Your desktop. That's what I see.
Yeah. There we go. All righty then. That should work. Actually.
Healthcare triage is another channel I really like.
So if you notice here, these are like topics on the stuff that I've kind of been digging on. Ecamm, shout out to those youngins. I've been like murdering their content lately. ESPN, I watched that, but SciShow Kids, you see, is on my little front screen here. Breaking down cinema editing there in the corner. This guy edits. Very, very cool channel if you want to get into film editing. All right. I'm a big hip hop fan. I do like when they mash up stuff with Sesame Street and all that kind of stuff like that. So that's Tribe Called Quest scenario mashed with the Muppets. Very interesting. But if you look here on the side, these are all the playlists that I have created. So logos, that's my kids doing their logo stuff now. These are all videos that I've created. Space Adventure, this is stuff that the kids are doing for kindergarten. Virtual orientation stuff. Mythology stuff. 8-Bit Philosophy, which I really love. 8-Bit Philosophy is another channel that's really, really dope, but all 45 episodes of that are there. PBS and Google, that's, I've deleted a lot of this stuff, but this was a PDE course I was doing. Videos I liked. NaNoWriMo videos, so great. Thug Notes, which unfortunately doesn't exist by itself anymore, but exists inside this channel. This is hilarious stuff. So high school teachers, if you want like the very, very rawest, hilarious, easiest to follow synopses of books, it gets no better than Wisecrack Thug Notes. Really, very cool.
Oh my gosh, I love Thug Notes. Also, I think something worth pointing out is that this is a strategy parents can use as well.
Excellent.
So if you want to kind of like point your kid in a specific direction, put together a playlist for them of stuff that you deem, acceptable, whatever, so that they have that playlist to go to when they're looking for something. And then you're infecting their YouTube stream. So it's not all, I don't know, Littles and Company or Charles Does Best, or I'm just making up things that aren't real.
Oh, but let's just not like the getting the slime videos and the
Yeah,
stuff
or
that.
like some random family's vlog or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think that there's there's a lot of validity to what you're talking about, and a lot of these kids already have YouTube channels. They will follow you. Like I've got kids that'll follow you if they have permission from their parent to have a YouTube channel. They will follow you back and stuff, and it's really very interesting. So, all right, cool in the gang. So we've got those there. How do we build these? Great. Let me go back to my home screen very quickly, and let's see how we build these very quickly. So cool. Um, so let's say I'm going to deal with this shake, shake, the mango. Shake that. Cool. So rhythm here is Sesame Street. It's 38 seconds. Perhaps we're going to do some kind of brain break thing. We're going to do something where kids are going to get up and move. We're going to encourage them to move, something like that. All right, cool. So we've got Sesame Street there. There is YouTube Kids. There some benefits to using it, some benefits to not using it. It kind of gets wonky on the iPads a lot of times for the kids. And some of the videos that you would otherwise be able to utilize, you wouldn't be able to utilize inside of YouTube Kids. But you'll notice I'm logged into my Clark County School District account for a reason. You'll see this is watchable by nb.ccsd.net. So it's permissible. It will get through with no problems. There are certain things like, I'm going to do this way. So this is the video that I utilized for the kids, I want to say 2-3 weeks back, 4 weeks back, 4 minutes and 44 seconds. It is now approved by CCSD, but at the beginning it wasn't. And so when that month and a half ago, when I was trying to get it approved by CCSD to utilize in class, it wasn't permissible for the students to be able to watch it on their own through Canvas, which kind of stunk. So you want to look for that video approved by nb.ccsd.net. Generally, your higher end educational companies are going to be fine. Your PBSs, your Sesame Street, and stuff like that. But a lot of times, you things that you think would be innocuous and totally cool, they won't actually be able to get past there. So be very wary of that. So we see this down here and whatnot. I could subscribe to Vox if I wanted to, but I see how many people have liked this, how many people don't like that. I can share it. So hit that share button. I can share it, just copy the URL. I can embed it directly into Canvas. There's another way to get it inside there though. Facebook, Twitter, Blogger, Reddit, Tumblr, Pinterest, whatever that is, LinkedIn, Mix, whatever that is, and I can email it to people. All right, great. But what if I want to just save it? All right, so all of these are playlists I've created. So my Watch Later playlist comes out of default, I believe. Logos, you see that I've got that link there. Space Adventure I've actually locked. But say this is going to be a brand new one. I don't want to add it to logos, even though that's probably the logical place. I would hit that create playlist deal. Great. I can make it private so that only I can see the videos are inside there. This is generally the way that I roll unlisted. That's why you see those links there. But some of them are public ones. They're just like, hey, okay, what do I care about? It's public, whatever. The unlisted ones I generally deal with because I don't really like people to snoop and look through my stuff. But the public ones are pretty innocuous ones. So I mean, hurricanes versus tornadoes, motivation or whatever, I'm going to leave it unlisted there. I'm going to create it and we're good to go. And that's as easy as it is. Anytime I go to a new video, so say that this one, great. Why do cartoon characters wear gloves? Great. I'm going to save that. And I have all of my stuff there. Demo for the people is available. I simply click on it. Great. In the bottom left-hand corner, it says it's added that to the demo for the people playlist. That's as like simplistic as it gets.
How do I view my playlists?
How do you do what?
How do I view my playlists?
Viewing the playlist. There we go. If you want to view your playlist, come here to the side here. Oops, move some stuff out of my way. And you're going to see all your wonderful things there underneath. You'll see that logo there with the 3 dots and the triangle for playing. Under your watch later, which is also always your first playlist. And those are all the playlists I've ever built. There on the left-hand side. Just the hamburger menu up in the corner gives me access to those. Or if you're at home, it comes by default with everything else.
Interesting. I don't have that.
You don't have what?
Oh, there it is. Never mind. I had to expand the little area below my library in order to see it.
Okay. So
it's all good. You're not lying.
all right. I mean, it's Sunday. I try to, keep it real with the Lord on Sundays at least. I mean, other days I try to too, but sometimes it don't work out. But anyway, playlists. To me, if you just wanted to go through surfing through the internet, even if it's stuff that this is a video that I might not be in need of right now, but it may be really cool to show kids later on. Putting those in playlists, having a basic understanding of either the units that you're going to teach or the standards you're going to have to teach, really, really important in that vein as well. So as you're going through YouTube, hey, that'll be really dope for us to use in this particular spot or that particular spot or whatever. All right. So I think that's kind of a big deal, big idea there, Webbs. Anything to add on that?
I don't think so.
All right, cool in the game. So great, wonderful. Like the second kind of deal here is we're going to actually walk through the entire process because the card situation is not going to work for us in CCSD or any videos that you make for children. So
how do I know I've made a video for children?
We're going to walk through everything right now, Webbs. Stop putting pressure on me, Webbs, man. Putting pressure on me, yo.
I'm just saying, the people need to know. I'm just here to make sure the people get their answers.
Indeed. So say I'm going to go just to my videos and I'm going to throw mine here. All right. So these are all the videos that I've ever uploaded inside here, whatever. All right. Great, fine, dandy. There's all my videos, whatever. Before this year, I used my personal Gmail account for my videos. It's not something you should do right now. You should use your school district. Your school district is a Google Apps for Education school district. Use the school district's Google accounts for your YouTube channel. You're going to absolutely positively ensure that all your video content gets uploaded to students and they can see it. If you use a outside Google account, you might have a ton of issues. Not just a ton of issues. Kids aren't going to be able to watch your videos. There's going to be issues, all that kind of wonderful stuff. So
how do I know what account I'm logged into?
So top right-hand corner here, let me move that over. And I've got tons of accounts. So you're going to see that, hey, yo, right now, Michael Lang Deering Elementary School, Lang MD at nv.ccsd. I can switch my account at any point. So I've got all those accounts that are connected to it. So if you need to go, you go through and you throw a video inside something, you put in your Canvas course, you're like, I'm good to go. I don't have to explain that to kids. It's rock and roll. And then you get a bevy of emails from students saying, oh my God, Ms. Smith, I cannot watch your video. It's probably because you uploaded into the wrong account. I've done that like 4 times this school year. All right. So check that. Make sure you're in the proper account inside the organization that you're supposed to be inside of, and you should be good to go. If you don't do that, again, there might be some issues going forward. All right. So I'm going to go through and actually walk you through the managed videos portion because kind of to Webb's point, how do I know that this is, a kid's video and not a kid's video or whatever? So again, as you would see here, most of the videos that I shoot are unlisted videos. Don't want them public unless I just share them with somebody. Not that I'm paranoid. I just like, hey, okay, dude, this is just something I made for my students. All right. So
it also prevents bots from finding your videos and putting inappropriate comments on them. I don't know if that applies as part of a Google Apps for Education account, but I know on a regular public YouTube account, that's the case.
So what it will do, you'll see the restrictions here, made for kids, right here under the restrictions right here. Made for kids, made for kids, made for kids, made for kids, made for kids. Somebody put a copyright claim because it's bad audio on that one, whatever. Made for kids, made for kids, made for kids, made for kids. Great. So you see all those made for kids ones. What exactly does that mean? If I go in very, very quickly, move my mouse over here to the side, I have the ability to look at the details, look at my analytics, look at any comments, view it on YouTube, but I also have my options. So my edit and title and description, get a shareable link. I could promote that video if I wanted to. The other thing about YouTube that's really dope is you can use it as a cloud drive. So you can upload videos inside here. You can download those videos anytime you want because you own them. So if you need another place just to have a dump, you can make a bunch of private unlisted videos and just dump them up here. You can do that as well. So I'm going to go to the details of this video very quickly. And so our students, our littles right now are doing the little basic videos with, using Keynote to build their simple logos right now. They're using names and shapes. Here's a little video that's there. Great. I generally don't put the descriptions in there because I put them in Canvas. It's unlisted, so I'm not really interested in anybody else using the videos. I can add whatever thumbnails I want. And this underneath here is when I can choose, do I want to make it available for students, not for kids? Are there age restrictions that I want to utilize? And what is content made for kids? YouTube will go and explain it to you. It'll walk you through what exactly that means. Now, functionally, some things that you can't do. And one of the things I was going to show you tonight was the wonders of end screens and cards. But if you notice, those things are grayed out because end screens and cards, you cannot run those on videos that are made for students. And Webbs, what did you explain to me that why the reasoning behind that would be?
I think it's so that they can control, like, because the whole reason that not the whole reason, but like I had read somewhere that part of the reason that they did this made for kids thing was to reduce the amount of like advertising that kids see and the type of advertising and where kids get directed to other videos. So there's a big problem where you'd have a seemingly innocuous video, but there would be an in card that would redirect them to something not appropriate. And so that's what it's trying to prevent from happening. Because those action buttons are generally only viewed as something used for advertising, I think that's probably why they took that power away. Even though teachers could use it in very different ways as like I'm going to redirect you to your lesson at the end of this. I would imagine that YouTube has probably taken that away because it's viewed as both an advertising tool and something to direct students to a video that may not be appropriate. So in order to negate that, they just take that power away when you label it as something for kids. Because I remember a YouTuber I watched saying that he started labeling his videos as for kids so they'd see less political ads. Because the content wise, it didn't matter. Like that wasn't a tool that he wanted to use. And it was more important to him that his audience didn't get inundated with political ads. So he started labeling.
Whole vetting your stuff. Remember they had the very big Peppa Pig problem where it looked like it was Peppa Pig, but actually had some stuff that was inappropriate for students. So yeah, definitely Webb's kind of even that with. Make sure you watch all the videos. You can't do the end cards anymore. Cool. It was a great strategy, great thing to use, again, to redirect students. But there's other ways to redirect students to their content, especially if you're using Canvas. Go ahead, Webbs.
Oh, I was just going to say, one of the advantages of using a reputable YouTube channel like Kurzgesagt or Vlog Brothers or Crash Course or something like that is you don't have to worry about those types of things. If it's a well-known educational YouTuber, Minute Physics, ASAP Science, all that kind of stuff, you can trust at least that it's a responsible channel and that they have a large following, they have content, they have a vested interest in making sure that their content is high quality for people. So, if you hit the highlights of their video and it seems like, that's going to address the content I'm expecting, they're also really responsible about disclosing like, hey, if you're an elementary teacher, this may not be content for your students, that kind of a thing. You're a lot safer if you stick to those well-known YouTubers than trying to like find, Kimmy X59732 or something like some random, like not reputable YouTube channel.
Facts. All right, so.
But I think that comes back to technical literacy. We've talked a lot about that. Like there is a technical literacy to being able to vet whether a YouTube video or YouTube channel is legit or not. Things like how many followers do they have? What kind of comments did they get? Do other people know who they are? Have you heard of them before? All of that makes a difference. You'll be able to do a quick search on Google for that YouTube channel. And if you can't find places and other YouTubers that it's connected to, like there's a group of YouTubers that I follow, CGP Grey, Numberphile, Smarter Every Day, Minute Physics, like they all kind of hang together, like the people who make those channels. And so they're connected with one another, and you see that all over the internet. So that's another way of knowing, like, is this a reputable channel or not?
Absolute facts. Absolute facts. So that's kind of the let me finish this last little piece real quick. So we have this yes, it's made for kids and whatnot. Also, if you're in a Clark County School District, by default, the comments are disabled. So if you make sure that the comments are disabled, that's another thing. And also, I don't want my students actually visiting YouTube, because I can bring YouTube to my students. So if you're using Google Classroom, using Canvas or whatever, don't have them go to YouTube. Have the YouTube embedded where they can get it very, very quickly and deal with it. Because your comments can be done in Google Classroom, your comments can be done in Canvas, your comments can be done in 55 million educational tools that keep them away from the actual YouTube environment. So great, fine, dandy. I'm not going to put any tags or anything there. The other thing, if you're kind of going to be adventurous, there is an editor built inside here. So if you want to go through and edit, you can add your own tracks and whatnot too. You can blur parts of the video and whatnot. So if you have students in your videos that you need to blur, did have a phone call with a friend that blurring the video wasn't working as well as it has in the past. I generally do not utilize YouTube to do any of the hide edits, but if you wanted to utilize it, you could. And again, the cards, adding the elements, you can add templates, another video, a playlist, the subscribe button, and all that kind of wonderful stuff, and stuff about your channel there as well. So if you want to kind of like become that next great edu YouTuber, they pretty much build everything inside for you. It'd just be playing around. Watch YouTube videos on how to use the YouTube editor, and you will be magnificent very, very quickly. So those are things that you can do. But as you see, I haven't done any of those things. I got the video up there. You don't have to, you're not trying to win an Academy Award. You don't need to win an Academy Award. Just get it up at YouTube. It's going to stay there forever. Again, the comments, there's nothing there. I'm good. I don't have to worry about the kids' comments going up. That's for that's a K1 video, K1-2 actually. I don't want those kids on YouTube leaving comments, because if they leave their comments, what else are they leaving? Their actual name, right? And I don't want their actual name to be exposed, connected to our school or anything like that, just because I'm paranoid. All right. So those things are there. Go ahead, Webs.
Oh, I was just going to say, that just got me thinking about something. Like, I hear folks say that a lot. Like, oh, I don't want to do X, Y, Z because I'm paranoid. I think that maybe we should, like, shift the discourse on that, because I don't think it's paranoia anymore. We just had a hack at CCSD where student information was taken. And so I think not connecting students with the school they go to is safe. It's not paranoid, because it's very easy on social media to pinpoint approximately like where a kid lives. If I know what school a kid goes to, and I'm going to go into like security mode for a second. If I know what school a kid goes to, I can reduce the radius of approximately where they live more than likely to a certain area. If I follow their parents on social media and find out where the places they check into, where they take pictures, I can probably figure out like what parks they frequent, what restaurants they go to, if they hang out at Boulder Station after school, whatever. It becomes very easy to then approach that kid in public and say, oh, your mom, Cassandra, told me to come get you and take you, to her because whatever. Like, I don't think that's paranoia anymore. I think that's responsible. I think it's being a responsible adult who takes care of kids in a 21st century world. Because yeah, it is really easy. We telegraph to the world like where we are, what we're doing constantly. We check into our favorite places. Most people tend to not go much more than like 3 miles away from their house for their favorite places. So it becomes very simple to triangulate approximately where a person lives based on where they check in on social media.
All right, so my paranoia is well founded.
Mm-hmm. It's not paranoia. I think we should stop calling it paranoia.
So what would be the proper term? Just
you're just being safe and responsible. You're a safe and responsible adult in the 21st century.
Indeed. So I'm being safe and responsible. I feel good about myself today. Now, playlist, kind of very, very low bar to kind of jump in. Going into the editor and stuff, kind of, I would say that's the intermediate bar. This is going to be kind of a hyper bar to go into. And so I wanted to show you this just because if you're a teacher watching this, or if you're a parent of a student, this is a tool or strategy you might want to, if your student is in a classroom that's a tech forward classroom, something if you really want to blow someone's mind, this is super dope. Now, Mira. I'm going to go here to Flipgrid Shorts, just because, again, Flipgrid Shorts, you will hear me say this over and over again. This is like the lowest entry point into video production. Use Flipgrid Shorts. You don't have to do very, very much after that. It's just hitting the record button and recording the video. 10 minutes in rock and roll. I'm just going to take a video I've already got before. And this is super dope because of the fact that I can send that directly to Google Classroom if I need to. I can embed it. My friends up in the north, yo, Microsoft Teams. You can send in Microsoft Teams if you need to. Remind if you're on Remind. I can QR code that mug and share the QR code. The kids can scan it and watch the video. I can download it again. So I can download this video and upload it right into YouTube if I needed to as well. So I've saved this video there. But I'm going to use that embed code here. So I'm going to copy the embed code. Watch what's going to happen. I'm going to take that. And I'm going to use a tool called Annotate TV. And this is really dope. So this is, now, if I go to that walkthrough of the keynote, right? So this goes back to not following things step by step rather than trying to read all the directions. Because what I find my students who have the most difficult time online trying to follow my videos is they wait until the very end of the video to do work. I don't want you to wait till the very end of the video to do work because you're probably going to forget all the steps that are there, right? So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, let me start here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to say, cool. Let's call this prepare yourself. And you're going to notice that I've got a timestamp there, right? So I'm going to say, yep, I wanted that 3-second timestamp. Great. And what I'm going to do is say, hey, kid, we're about to go on an adventure, but you need some stuff. Now, great, fine, dandy, I got that there, right? It's timestamped and everything. Wonderful, great, fine, dandy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, cool, I'm about to go really meta and say, I'm going to put video inside a video to walk them through the fact that they should be doing everything I tell them to freaking do as it's telling them on the video and not waiting to the end. So I'm going to say, dope, cool, let me preview that. All right, oh, always do this the wrong way. So get rid of you, my friend. Let me preview it now. Bada bing! Now I've got YouTube Short inside the oh my God, my mind is blown. So I can put the YouTube video with me doing the Flipgrid Shorts, walking them through every piece of the process, or I could just write notes to them and say, look, you should be doing X, Y, Z right now, Bob. You should do this, you should do that. All right, great. I can do that at any timestamp that I would like. So I can go and say, hey, this is a very important thing. You need to pay attention to it or whatever. I could embed another YouTube video inside there. I could put a table in there. I can add a picture in there. I could put links in there, whatever. Great. So I'm going to create that little note. Go ahead, Webs.
And this is Mr. Lang, and there's a couple of different.
I would hope at this point, too, something folks have noticed is this editor, right? So you see this editor in a lot of places. It's called the Wysiwyg. What you see is what you get. I've seen it in Canvas. It's been in worksheets. It's
Wiser.
It's been Wiser. It's like everywhere. So that what you see is what you get editor should be very familiar to you by this point so that you feel comfortable going, oh, I've seen this before. And that's kind of a little touch point on what I was talking about earlier with regard to like tech literacy. That Wysiwyg editor should be something that you're now relatively comfortable with, having seen it in this tool, having seen it in Canvas, and I don't know if Flipgrid has a Wysiwyg, but Wiser has it. Those what you see is what you get editors are like everywhere. So that's I think a tool that you should be comfortable exploring. If you haven't explored some of the options on those tools, a lot of times we'll just write the text and be on our way. See what you can do with adding images. See if you can add a GIF. Like that is pretty cool. I'm putting together a lunch and learn with a colleague for Wednesday, and we're like, okay, how can we add GIFs to PowerPoint? So yeah, it keeps it interesting, but that's a tool to be familiar with, like a tool within a tool. that you should be comfortable with by now. I hope, maybe.
Facts. So, again, all my notes would appear here on the side. So the kid could jump to a particular note that I have that says, hey, prepare yourself. Make sure you pay attention here. This is how you do X, Y, Z. This is how you can get the cards into YouTube without having the cards into YouTube. I can build them inside here. So if you really want to go like uber crazy and do that, you could do that. All right, so great. I've got that deal here. I'm going to hit this more button up here. I can copy the link. I can export to Markdown. So if you're somebody who knows Markdown, you can do that. I can export to PDF. I can also export to Readwise. But what I want to do is I'm going to copy that link to share because we have our good old friend, the iframe generator there. And I'm going to say, yo, fam, I want my YouTube videos to be funky. So Annotate TV is there. I'm going to call this space, whatever. I'm going to make this 1200 by 800. All right, cool. And let's preview it. Bada bing, it pops up. Oh my gosh. Now I got YouTube in the annotations there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's just mind blowing. Now, blows my mind. Blows my mind. Now, I'm going to generate that. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to say, hey, here's my trusty workroom. I'm just going to build a page really quickly and say, okay, cool. I don't want this kid doing very much. Let's hit that raw HTML editor, throw it together. Bada bing. Now I got a TV show type set up here. Let me save that.
Got to give your page a name.
Oh, not boob. This is a PG-13 show, Mike. How dare you call it boob? Save. Bada bing. So now I took the YouTube video. I got my annotations going down there. Click. Kid, watch the annotations. There's my Flipgrid. I just freaking taught my class, and I ain't got to do squat, buddy. It's all there. Keep it at 100. Now look at that. So if you want to go high end, if you're a teacher that's like, hey, I want to teach everything off YouTube. I can embed my whatever worksheets I need to do, any links, whatever, everything can be embedded all in the interface. I don't have to do squat else. And so this is how I am converting all of my classes to Annotate TV classes, because generally I'm going to have one page with all the stuff in it, all the steps, and God bless America. I don't need more than one page anymore, fam. One page, y ya está, as my Spanish homies say. So if you're trying to go big time with it, that's the way to go big time with it, fam. So YouTube, take a YouTube video, upload it into your channel. Take that YouTube video, put it in Annotate TV, walk the kids through every last step they're supposed to walk through, and God bless you. Then you're done. You ain't gonna do a squat anymore. And you can go drink your coffee and stuff and like walk your dog.
That's great.
So keep it 100, man. There's no reason for you. Like, I am telling you right now, teacher friends, if you're out there, like, your mental health is important, but you gotta teach like your mental health is important. All right. There are tools out here that can make your class a lot more efficient, a lot easier to deal with, etc. What you cannot do is try to teach the way you taught when you are face to face within the four walls. You will drive yourself absolutely, positively insane. It will not work. We are in Nevada. I do not foresee us whatsoever going back at any point. That is not popping off this school year. Even if we do, having these tools in your tool belt to be able to pop out at will and say, cool, this is a way that I can keep my content in a malleable form that at any point in the future, I could have kids in a self-directed path rather than having to go and say, Mr. Lang, what do I do next? Mr. Lang, nah, them questions is not valid no more. Your Canvas course is corrected. It's created for you. Leave Mr. Lang alone, fam.
I forget where we were that you were talking about how having them ask a specific question is important. So it's not just, I don't know. It's and you have the rule of ask 3 before me. Like, hey, have you watched the video twice? Have you asked a friend? It's that's just ask 3 before me. So yeah, I think that setting those guidelines up so that you're not trying to like funnel a bunch of questions and deal with like all that stuff is helpful. I had another point and now I can't remember what it was. It was, if you're watching, bring a friend. Like, I know we've been saying for a couple months now, like, you know, make your life easier. Here's these tools, here are these resources. And I feel like one of the ways of is just like awareness that these things exist. Or if you don't want to invite a friend to this show, then you can send them a link or share the tools we've talked about or whatever. But I think a lot of it is just awareness, you know, like people seem as though they're drowning because they're trying to do all this in-person teaching. If for some reason we do go back or y'all do go back and it's the hybrid situation, that's all I got for you because I've heard nothing but bad stuff about the hybrid situation. Like grades are a hot mess with the hybrid situation.
But think about the hybrid though. What actually, like the hybrid is still distance learning, right? And that's what. So reading people's responses to it, I'm like, okay, look, fam, the kids who are online, the Canvas course still there for you. God bless you. Now the kids who are face to face. Guess what you got? A device. You losing the Canvas course too. Mr. Lang is still drinking his coffee.
But I think that there needs to be someone to say that it's not different. So the schools that I've seen, the expectation is that you're teaching live and in person to the kids who are there and also delivering that same lecture or whatever to the kids who are remote, which is stupid.
Yes. Absolutely positive.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying.
But this is why I'm saying preemptively, should this happen, the knowledge needs to get out there and people need to start sharing the narrative that like, hey, hybrid shouldn't be any different than distance learning. In person shouldn't be that much different than distance learning. If you're delivering your tier 1 content to kids virtually on demand, then they have repeat access to it. They have that whole thing taken care of. You are now free to meet with the kids who need you most for tier 2 and tier 3 instruction. Like, this should never change.
If a kid is attacked by ravenous wallabies and is in the hospital for the rest of their life, they should still they should be able to access all your information without you having to do squat. And what I will say really, it is unfortunate first and foremost that it took a pandemic for us to usher in this idea. But it's also an opportunity for teachers to get ahead a year, right? I can go and use this year. I can get ahead a year. I can build all my content. So next school year, Kofax, your team is going to be all right. They're going to win the whole thing this year. I'm pretty sure. You're going to be all right, Kofax.
He just like buried himself under the chair where he doesn't even fit and somehow because he wanted to sit under the desk and get pets. What would an episode be if he didn't make an appearance, sort of?
But yeah, I mean, part of it is like, this is a gap year. Let's take the gap year, get all your stuff done. So that next year it's like, I'm chilling. I'm on easy treat. I get all my IEPs. All the kids' IEPs should be perfect. We have a situation where we can go to small groups very, very powerfully. Any RTI should run like a top next school year because I ain't worried about the tier 1 instruction because it's already done. But I digress. Tonight's show, we went over YouTube strategies. First, just the playlists, just go around, take your very videos, put them in, organized by units, by standards, by interests, whatever. Cards do not work under any videos that are made for students or for kids that you designate as such. And you want to designate them as such because they're going to keep a lot of the predatory influences on YouTube away from your students. Also, don't have your students come to YouTube, bring the YouTube to your students. Most of your tools are going to give you that ability. And then annotate TV. If you really want to kind of challenge yourself, it's not really, I don't even think it's challenging yourself. It's simply taking the video and walking the kids through each of the steps. There, it'll save you some time. It will save you some energy. And guess what? Right now it's in beta. The young man who created the tool is really awesome. Even when it goes to paid, it's going to be $4 a month. I'll pay the $4 a month for it with no questions because it's going to save me a whole bunch of heartache and pain on the other side. So I am approaching him right now because he's using this as, I'm a student and I want to do that. I was like, no, I'm a teacher and I can deliver my content to my students this way. And right now, just again, when you find people like this that are using their tool in a way that perhaps as a teacher you use a different way, approach the person, yo fam, this is a different way you do it, and you should have a teacher tier. So perhaps it's not $4 a month for us, it's $2 a month. And teachers might be down with it. Webs, any closing thoughts, final ideas?
Yeah, I was going to say, start with your procedures or problem solving. Like if you're struggling to figure out where to start with video stuff, start with problem solving. What's a problem your students come to you with all the time? How can you do a Flipgrid short about how to solve that problem so that you don't have to keep saying it? You can just shoot them the link. Parents, if parents are struggling with something specific, or if parents are trying to communicate to the teacher what the issue is, get with Flipgrid Shorts. It does screen recording. So if the problem you're trying to show is that there's something going wrong on your computer, like you can record your screen that way, and it's a really simple, approachable way to do it. Then you just shoot the link to the teacher or whatever the case is, so that they can watch it over and over. They can see what your problem is. I think that's a big thing too, is trying to type out. I've been reading this book. What is this book called? It is called, I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. But it's talking all about like rest and productivity and how like one of the things we've done recently in the last like 5-10 years is we've emphasized writing as a way of communicating, either over chat or text or email. And it's an inefficient way of communicating because there's so much room for misinterpretation. And often the easiest, most empathic way to communicate with someone is using your voice. So recording that video and letting them hear your whether you're frustrated or not, like what your tone is, it's really meaningful, and it helps us connect and build communities. I really got to look up what the name of that book is. Hold on. As soon as I find my mouse. But yeah, so recording those videos is not only good for teachers, it's also good for students. Recording the troubleshooting and help stuff to solve problems is a really easy win when it comes to making short, simple videos about something so that you can practice. What is the name of that book? I've started reading 10% of a book, whatever book I'm reading, every night. And let me tell you, it's called Do Nothing. How to break away from overworking, I think, overdoing and underliving.
Word.
So far, I'd give it like 4 stars.
Out of 5 or 4 out of 10?
Out of 5. 4 out of 5. There is a lot of really good, solid information, things that I have forgotten, like multitasking is a waste of time. You're really just switching context back and forth really fast. You get a lot more done. They talk about Pomodoro, actually, and how the ideal Pomodoro for most people is like 52 minutes of work to 17 minutes of break. How much more work people get done when it's focused work and it's not broken up by being interrupted by like text messages and Slack messages and all that kind of stuff. There is a small bit in the middle about technology that I wasn't quite sure about, but then the way that the author brings it back around to talk about how like this isn't a new problem that technology has wrought. Like this is a problem that's been a problem for a while, and we need to reckon with that. Like it's something that came along with the Industrial Revolution, and so employer or work person employee productivity has gone up, but we're not actually finding any more time. It's been a pretty good book. I want to say I'm 75% done. It may bump up to 4.5 stars, maybe even 5 by the time I'm done, depending on how it closes off. But I've been reading 10% of a book per day, and I get through books a lot faster. And I've been trying really hard to do focused reading. So I put my phone away. I do it right before bed. And I really let myself fall into that book, which is something I had started to have a hard time with focus wise. So that's where the web's life hack, productivity, whatever, just enjoying life because pandemic.
Indeed. Well, I mean, I think, again, unfortunately, how the pandemic was handled has been a disaster. But I think the pandemic hopefully is going to usher in some changes to how our world works that are going to be positive. So
I hope so. Yeah.
that being the case, I'm about to do that fizzing.
Do that.
And we will see you on Thursday with another action-packed episode of the Hoodlum Cultured Podcast. Probably with some other very interesting things that I'm learning that I will add to how our stream goes. Because, again, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Let's get better, better, better. And again, 1% better doesn't have to be some kind of phenomenal change in which you have transformed yourself into Godzilla, but 1% change works. All right. Have a great beginning of your week. Webbs, you got something to say?
I just want to say for anyone who is still watching, because there are 4 people apparently still hanging with us, but one of those might be me. I'm not sure. The other one could be you. So maybe it's really just 2 people I'm speaking to, and whoever watches this on the replay. I have upgraded my sound and camera situation. So I don't know if anyone like noticed that or anything. I was feeling real bad about myself because every time I'd watch these, I'd be like super blurry. I look like I'm some kind of like I'm being filmed on like a security tape from the 90s on VHS, and Mike's over here like pristine and clear. Yeah, so I upgraded my audio and video. If anyone notices, or if you're like, no, Webbs, this is a step back. You need to go back to the thing you were doing before. I'm just looking for some feedback on if this is actually better or not. That's all I want from you.
Indeed. All right. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you on Thursday. Again, you need something, holler at us through any of the social media channels that are available. God bless America, and God bless Nova Scotia.
Bye, everybody.